Hey there, it is Faith Talk Live. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
Dr. David Burnette is on with us today. If you're watching YouTube Live or Facebook Live, he's the founding CEO and director of Christian Inc. and staff missionary of Belmont Baptist Church in Conyers. And actually, he has got a list about this long. I think we should have you on more than once, Doc, to get into all the stuff you do. First of all, welcome.
Oh, well, thank you, guys. It's an honor and privilege to be with you here today. Big fan of the show. Big fan of you guys here at Faith Talk.
We appreciate it.
Well, just for that, you can come on every day with us, Doc.
The check's in the mail, so don't worry about it.
There's a man after my own heart right there.
Yes, I like it.
Well, let's start from the very beginning because you do so much, you and your team, so much stuff around the world. Tell us your story and let's talk about you.
Yeah. I got saved as a 5-year-old little boy in College Park, Georgia, Second Baptist Church. And then I grew up, in and out of the church. But then the Lord called me into service when I became an adult. And he just opened a lot of different doors. I didn't know I was going to be in ministry. I started going to Charles Stanley's church back in the In Touch days when matter of fact, I was sitting in Sunday school and Andy Stanley would be sitting to my left and before he got into ministry. And I remember hearing him preach for a couple of times. But then as life went on, the Lord called me to full-time service and surrendered to that. Did a little radio program on my local radio station. Met Larry Burkett and the team up there. And they kind of took me under their wing and we started doing some radio ministry. And then from there, we went into working at a church in a bus ministry. And the kids didn't have Bibles, which I was just kind of shocked of. Here we are in America. And,
right.
I've got 120 kids being bussed in from the projects and nobody had a Bible. So we started buying Bibles and I was still working with Larry and Ralph Malone. And Ralph took me under his wing and he gave me money to start this free Bible ministry. We called it BiblesForFree.com back when the internet just got started, back when you had that squealing noise on your phone.
Don't do that. It just brings back bad memories.
Yeah, don't pick up the phone, whatever you do. Don't pick up the phone.
So we started that. We made a website for missionaries and started shipping Bibles overseas. We started having Bible drives, collecting people's extra Bibles and redistributing to the needy. And then the Lord took that and we formed a society to try to distribute Bibles. There's American Bible Society. So we started one independent of them and we called it the United States Bible Society. And our goal was just to put Bibles in the hands of needy people. And the Lord took that and grew that into Christian ministries, of which we are today, where U.S. Bible Society is still a 501c3 charitable organization. And that's our focus. We ship out about 5,000 Bibles a month to needy people. And then from that, we started having a lot of people saved. And we had, the Lord burdened our heart to disciple the converts. So we started a couple other ministries in that. We started the Church.Global, which is an online church of our home church. And trying to disciple converts. And we started doing daily devotions and we do those. We have about 100,000 subscribers all over the world that we teach the Bible to each and every day. So the Lord has just taken a small thing and made it into a big. Matter of fact, Andy, when one of his first messages, he preached down there at In Touch, or First Baptist down there, was about George Washington Carver and how he was struggling and how he said, Lord, show me the peanut. And so when I started that, I heard Andy's message and I said, Lord, show me how to get the Bible to the four corners of the world. I didn't think we would ever grow into what we're doing now, but now we're in 120 countries.
Wow.
We've translated Bibles. We've done so many things, not of ourselves, but of the Lord, the Holy Spirit working in and through us. And we're kind of like a bystander on the sidelines or a coach, and we're watching the action go on and we're involved in it, but we're not really doing it, but the Lord is. And it's just awesome. Wow. Now we're reaching 300 million souls a month. We're on the Now Television Network. We've got, it just goes on and on. I'm overwhelmed with that peanut illustration.
Yeah.
Be careful what you pray for, because the Lord will surely fill your truck with all kinds of goodies on that. But,
Wow. That's impressive. Now, and now you got christianministries.global, the website that kind of encompasses everything that you guys do, which is just, it's a vast amount of stuff. How in the world did you get it to grow? And I guess the answer is the Lord, but how did you to get it to so many different things that you guys offer, and that you got your hands in, that you are helping to get the word out?
yeah. Well, the Lord just kept opening doors. Matter of fact, I sat down with my pastor and been working with my pastor, Belmont Baptist Church in Conyers, Georgia, Dr. Nolan Jackson. And we were sitting down, and I said, what does the Lord want me to do? Because I literally had a Bible printing machine. I thought we were going to print Bibles. So a man donated us a $60,000 printing machine. And I made Bibles in about 10 different languages, like a scribe. And we would literally print them in my basement.
Huh.
And we were doing that. And I say, oh, that's what the Lord wants me to do. So, I was all gung ho about that. We'll buy a printing press and we'll, do all that. But then that machine burned up and that door closed. And then we had the opportunity to work with Mega Voice in audio Bible translation. So the Lord just opened that door. So we started working on that. And we had a Japanese missionary out of our church that was trying to learn the Japanese language. It's such a tough language. So we made the solar powered MP3 recorders. And that's how I got to work with Charles Stanley and some of the other ministries leading the way, because they make the recorders for them. So we translated the Japanese Bible through a missionary into audio form. We put it together. Took me several months. 8 hours a day, 3 straight months of just being like a scribe and trying to get these recordings together. Long story short, we made the audio Bibles. We gave them to the missionary. They took them overseas. One soul got saved. And I was eating lunch with my pastor a few months later, and I said, that's what it was for. That was a lot of work for one soul. But then right after that, you remember that tsunami that hit over there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they called me and said, hey, we don't have a Japanese Bible. Would you give us the copyright of that? So I signed over the copyright to them. And now that Bible's been distributed to hundreds of thousands of people.
Wow.
And tons of souls have gotten saved. And now
That's
we're
awesome.
getting, we get emails back. We have about 100,000 subscribers to our daily devotion. And now we're getting probably about 300 to 400 folks a month writing us that they've received Christ through some aspect of the ministry, whether it's audio or whether it's print or, so it's just amazing to see what the Lord will do if you just give your heart to him, surrender to whatever he has you to do.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't do this or write a book and tell you how to do it.
Yeah.
It's all the Lord. He is awesome.
Wow.
Dr. David Burnette with us. What are you working on? Are there translations you're working on now? How many more countries need to get Bibles? That's probably astronomical. That's probably an astronomical question, but can you quantify that?
Yeah, we work with the Seed Company, and that's with Wycliffe, to try to translate Bibles. And the goal is 2025, having every tongue translated, because now you can, with Wycliffe, you can go overseas and get an interpreter and sit in a camp or a village, and you can interpret and record the Bible and put it on an audio format, and then they can mass produce them into those MP3 players. So as long as there's a missionary going into a foreign land, you could have a Bible audio, and then the audio would go to print if they can read the language. And there's a lot of gray area on that. But Seed Company says 2025 we're going to have every language translated. That's their goal, and that's what they're they're pushing towards. So we'll see what the Lord does on that. But it just shows you that the end is coming, or the rapture is coming.
Yeah.
So everything's accelerating at a great rate. So I'm excited to see what the Lord does here in these last days, really.
Dr. Dave Burnette, Christian Ministries. So Dave, through these years of doing this and just being obedient to what God is telling you to do, what has he taught you personally?
That there's nothing out there that you can't do, for one. And another, I ran into a gentleman from Tony Evans' ministry, and he looked at everything we did and he goes, "Man, you're at the point now where you're going to have to pray through everything." So prayer is paramount. I start my day with an hour of prayer each and every day, and I have to look for what the Lord would have us to do. Because in ministry, there's so many good things you can be doing, but you
Right.
need to focus on what the Holy Spirit would have you to do each and every day. And it might seem insignificant. If I was running this, I also own a business that funds our ministry. And that, if I was running the ministry like a business, I would make a lot different decisions based upon, the bottom line and what you're trying to do. But in the ministry, just like the Japanese Bible, that was of no profit, a lot of time. I could have been doing several other good things, but the Lord had a purpose. So we just have to keep really our hands to the old gospel plow and find out what the Lord wants us to do. It might be visiting your neighbor. It might be working at the nursing home, because I've done that before. And you're sitting there going, "Man, they're not even hearing what I'm saying." I preached a message and I don't think anybody could tell you what it did, but it trained me in what the Lord had me to do. The next step. He's always doing today what he's going to have you work in tomorrow. So if we can learn that principle, I think it's a great benefit to us.
Yeah.
I remember back in the day, I used to preach at what we used to call the old folks' home, and they all fell asleep, but I just kept going anyway. Of course,
They weren't sleeping, Rick. They were meditating on what you were talking about.
Of course, the temperature was like 180, so that could have been some of the Doc, we got to go to a break. We'd love to talk to you again. Thank you so much for being obedient and for doing what you. To me, I'm like, my grace, there's so much to out. So really, let's get you back and let's talk more about what's going on and what gold, right, to be able to work with the late Larry Burkett. That guy had a huge heart and knew what he was talking about.
Amen. He was a rocket scientist, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
This is Faith Talk Live.